Yeah, so so they went to Tule Lake internment camp, which is on the California-Oregon border, and then afterwards they decided that farming wasn't the future, so they went to Los Angeles and initially pick beans, and then my dad went on to get work his way through school to get become an engineer. My Uncle Kay became a city treasurer for the city of Santa Monica, and I grew up around there. And so I'm the first Watanabe to return in about 50 years.
Oh, back to the state of Washington.
And it's really wild because there's like my dad has these childhood friends. Some of them like Shigakata, who lives on Beacon Hill, and it just sort of to make that kind of connection, because like his father and my grandfather were like, I guess, drinking buddies or something like that, and then his son Keith Akata I see, and the different events and stuff. So it's
that's what I'm going to ask you about. I'm going to ask you about that, and I want you to tell me just about reconnecting here in the Northwest, and then also your pursuit.
And what started me off, running was I've been teaching over at Bellevue College, and basically it's been business, statistics, and I've also been a small business counselor over there. And while I was there, as a member of the Washington Education Association, I went for some training with the National Education Association, and called the Higher Ed Emerging Leader Academy, and so one of the meetings that we had was about organizing, and they said, oh, we're going to have a special guest. That special guest was Congressman John Lewis, and that's really kind of what started it.
So you were telling me about coming to Bellevue Community College.
Yes.
And then pursuing your political?
That's right. So, so what really kind of sparked my consciousness was Congressman John Lewis to talk about organizing. And, this was like in November of 2007, and I said, well, as a student leader, here are all the issues that you were dealing with, but now that you're a congressman, what are the issues of the day? And he said, well, there are many issues, but he felt that health care was the issue. And it really struck a chord with me, because that's one of the things that adjunct faculty at the community college often tell me, is that it's not as much about the money then as it's about health care. As if you taught over 50% load, you could get health care, and that was very important. So that resonated a lot with me. And I'm running for the state senate because I look at my students, and first of all, I'm worried about their opportunities to have good paying jobs, and and being able to raise families here. I'm also worried about the high cost of tuition, as well as still trying to amply fund K-12 education. And
I'm still trying to wrap my head about the cost of education these days too. So do you find that your platform is being well received?
Well, actually, yes, it is. I think people really feel that bread and butter issues are really important, and I think that particularly with working folks, that's very important. And that's what I am. I've been a neighborhoods guy.
Are you living here in Seattle?
Yes. I live in Beacon Hill.
Oh, so you are on Beacon Hill.
And
I grew up on Beacon Hill, because that was the 1950s. Date myself just a little bit. But seen a lot of transformation on Beacon Hill. So that's really wonderful that you've taken on these causes that are some that are near and dear to me too, as a local taxpayer. But you'll continue to teach?
Well, I'm hoping to continue to teach, because I really love the classroom, and Really, I've always been about the future, and young people are part of that, and so I like the classroom because it keeps me grounded and connected to the issues of the day. I'll tell you that the thing that I started off as an engineer, working on space programs as a programmer, actually one of the things is I also started a company, and that company was Microsoft's first acquisition. It was called Dynamical Systems Research. And they're so overlapping Windows, beginning with Windows version 3.0 until they went back to tiling with Windows 8 was our technology.
It's like when worlds collide, right? And all of these overlapping messages and issues. You mentioned that you came back to Washington State after the family being away from Washington State for how many years?
Well, let's see. So, so they were removed from Aurelia, which is my Uncle Kay actually went to graduate from Kent High, they went to Tule Lake Internment Camp, which is right on the California-Oregon border, and they didn't really get out till 1945, so the first thing they did is they said, well, farming's not the future, but they, since they were farmers, the first thing they did is they went down to Los Angeles to pick beans. My grandmother found a job, and then everybody else came and followed, and from there, I guess my dad and my uncles basically worked their way through school to get different jobs. So my dad became an engineer, and my Uncle Kay became the city treasurer for the city of Santa Monica. And my Uncle Joe was a hospital pharmacist.
Were you an only child?
No, I actually have a brother and a sister, although my sister is deceased, and he's also an engineer.
Does he live here in Washington State?
I live right in Beacon Hill.
Your brother?
Well, my brother lives down in Pasadena, California.
Well, before we finish today, is there anything else you'd like to tell us about your pursuit, your passion in politics?
Well, what I really love about this area is you can have conversations with people right on the porch, or you go on the street. Some places, people just get into their homes and then they just close the door and you never see them. But that's not like that here. And the fact that you can go to all these events and meet people, no matter how famous they are, you can have access to them. And that's really wonderful about this area. It's large enough to do significant things, but it's still small enough that there's a real personalness to our interactions, and that's what I really want to keep as a state senator. That's something that was very important to my family years ago, and I want to maintain that.
Well, I agree. This is a wonderful place to be here in the Northwest, particularly Seattle, because this is my home too, and I'm just wishing you lots of luck in your campaign, and maybe you can come back next year and tell us more about where you're at, and hopefully you've achieved, this milestone in the Senate.
Well, thank you so much.